You're listening to Productivity Monsters in the Morning. We are the energy vault your real estate business needs to get you up and out and excited and productive for the day. We go over trending topics and things that really matter in the market of the moment. Here are your hosts, Tiffany Hampton and Brooke Silva.
Hello, my friend.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
It's always weird in a short week.
Yeah. Well, and what I'm wicked excited for is 6 to 8 inches of snow tomorrow. So no responsibilities other than sitting in front of my computer.
I'm traveling.
But that's in my world. 200 miles south, 100 miles south, it might be something different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because when I get snow, you get rain. When I get ice, you get rain.
Correct.
Yep. But they need to kill off all these ticks.
You do.
Yeah. So I live in an association that doesn't allow chickens. So if I didn't, I would live in a place where I can get chickens and have them eat all the ticks. Just saying. I know. These are the problems of Tiffany's life.
Wow.
Yep. We're all me. It's all good. All right. Enough about that banter. Let's just talk about what did we do yesterday. So you were teaching 6 PPs.
Yeah, we taught 6 personal perspectives yesterday in Foxborough, Plainville area. I say Foxborough because when I say Plainville, nobody knows. So like that area at Elite.
Was it really Plainville?
It's not. There is nothing plain about that market center. They're fabulous.
That's awesome.
It's one of those places that, well, first off, I think I said it on here before, but I'll say it again. It's my 6 personal perspectives is my most favorite thing to share with people.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just, I get a mindset check teaching it just as much as I am when I'm a student in it. Mm-hmm. So it's just one of those really cool classes, and I always just feel so great after seeing it.
Yep. And I went to our Portland, Maine's Market Center. We have our weekly team meeting, all partners meeting. Yep. And Tamika Donahue with Academy Mortgage came on with Meg Faulkner. They had gone to a convention and they were talking about above the line and below the line thinking.
Not expenses, MCAs, because that's where my head originally went. And I was like, why are we talking about above the line, below the line?
Right. And with the market shifting and everything we've been through, people, it's rough.
It is. It is.
Mindset is rough.
Not everybody, you and I have talked about COVID and pandemic as being an opportunity for us to grow ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't let shut us down.
No.
But not everybody feels that way, and that's okay. But when you just explained what above, what did I ask you? I was like, are we going boxing? Is this above the belt, below the belt? What are you talking about? It took me a minute to wrap my head around it.
Yeah. So above it's just the way you're thinking, right? So if you look above the line, that's more positive. If you go below the line, that's more negative, right? Mm-hmm. And it intertwines so well because that's the mantra of KW, right? The 6 PPs, all of the bold laws, everything that we stand for, we really talk about keeping your head in the right space.
Right.
And it's really easy. And we laugh a lot and we have a lot of fun, but life is hard. I don't care who you are.
Life is tricky. Life can be hard, and it's fun because yesterday what we talked about a lot is part of the 6 person perspective is taking a look at your actions, and we all fall prey to victim. Now there's no way you can't, but you said something earlier to me, and we'll get to the affirmation that we'll talk about this, but it's victim status versus ownership status. Are you accountable or are you a victim? And if you live in victim world, we've got to help you get out of it. So today's affirmation starts us off with, sometimes it's as simple as this: I'm allowed to say no to others and yes to myself.
Yes. Because, and I will be the first, I've been a single parent. Like, I lost my mom when I was 27. Like, I was the oldest living female in my family, like 4 years later, right? So like all of these things made it very easy to be victim. And I made a choice.
You had kids, you had no choice.
Yeah.
I mean, you
well, I did have a choice, but I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
You know, we'd like to live in triangles as well, right? So when you think about this above the line, the below the line, you have on one side of the triangle, you have the hero. On the other side of the triangle, you have the villain, and down below you have the victim, right? And what ends up happening is you have the hero mindset and you have the victim mindset, and you make a choice. Where are you going to live?
And it's okay to feel those things. It is, because I think we live in this wonderful place right now where we're allowed to say, I'm not okay. But if you live in that space continually and you're not accepting reality, we're never going to move forward towards our goals. Today, yesterday at 6PP, we really dug into, getting down to one of the goals and breaking it down more, and mindset to get to those goals. And one of the things is making sure that, and I've got the book here because yesterday, and I'm still downloading all my notes from it, but a lot of people live in denial. Is denial one of those things that is below the line?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't force change and you put your blinders on, I mean, denial is blinders.
And it's funny because I know a lot of people who love blinders on, and blinders on can be a good thing when you're focused.
The tunnel vision, the one thing I'm focused on today.
But not when it comes to seeking reality in situations. And life happens and reality shows up. And I do think, now that I've seen the images you've shown me, it's how you're living above the line or below the line when it comes to those thoughts. It's such an easy graph. It's just an easy way to grasp the concept of thinking and putting it into two buckets. There's no gray space. You're either above or you're below. Like, how great is that?
I can't remember what book I read. It was like 2 years ago when I first started coaching with Matt Teeter, who's a MAPS coach. We were talking about, I lost my train of thought, but essentially we were talking about the ability to just stop for 5 minutes, figure out the reality is. And when you look at a problem, like, and I'm going to be you're crossing the street and you get hit by a bus, right? Where did you own responsibility in getting hit by that bus?
Did you look both ways?
Right? I mean,
I'm pretty sure you could see a bus lumbering down the road.
And did you need to cross the street right then, right? So like having this mindset around the fact that even if it's not your fault, what could you have done differently that it wouldn't have happened?
Right.
Because that's ownership.
Right. And we talk about changing the word accountability to ownership. It really is such a great way. One of the things we were talking about yesterday about people who live in victim mode or that below the line, they fight reality. They say things like, that's just the way it is, right? Or that's how I see it. That's your perception. When people who have clarity and are accountable and will work with change, they say, this is the way it is, but got it. Let's go forward. Like, always moving forward in that accountability. And then something that came up also was the goal doesn't change, but the plan may have to. And sometimes when people live below the line in their thinking, they see it as the goal of a failure, but the goal is still the goal. The plan around it may have to change. And that's why we do 411s, right? That's why, because you're not, your whole year is not shot. Your week just may change. So the goal doesn't change, the plan does.
Right. Well, and not to go off on a tangent about that, but to set a goal that I'm going to do 100 transactions by the end of the year, and week 4 of the new year or week 3 of the new year, turn around and say, I have to do, like, bite size it. Like,
right.
What do you have to do today? I mean, it's the one thing scenario, right? What do you have to do today? By doing such, it's easier to get to that goal.
It is, and we went over that yesterday with our success list, right? Task lists will terrorize you.
Oh yeah.
Right? They will terrorize you. There's got to be 2 things, 3 things on that list that by doing it, everything on the list becomes easier or unnecessary. And I know you can get down to 1. If I do this one thing, these other steps, gone.
Well, and I've even changed the way I look at my GPS, and I don't know if we've said it on this call. The GPS is goals, priorities, and systems. It's 1 goal, 3 priorities, 5 strategies. But who says you need to have 3 priorities and 5 strategies? Yeah, 1 goal, 1 priority, and 1 strategy. And then when you knock that out, move to the next. Like, because I have ridiculous goals for 2023, right? Like, this is going to be my year that changes everything, because I'm in a position, 2 of my kids are out of the house. My 3rd one is 15, independent, and really wants to get into the real estate industry. So I have something to prove to him, right? Like, I can't be a slacker, because I've been talking this talk, and now he's going to see behind the curtain, right?
Yeah, he's going to, and be like, wow, it's hard.
Yeah. And he's his mother's son.
Right. He's going to be tenacious. I'm going to give him a Sasquatch logo for his real estate company.
I love it. So, and staying above the line, really easy for me to be woe is me, or, well, if I wasn't handed these cards, it wouldn't look like this.
Oh, woe is me, your personality. I have a hard time with that. And it comes back to also finding your tribe around you.
Yep.
Making sure your tribe is around. If you're surrounding yourself with people who live in that negative, we talked about it, whereas you don't realize how negative people are around you when you're around the wrong people, until all of a sudden everything, you just look up and you're like, whoa.
Right.
Whoa. This is bad.
Well, and being around the right people is so important as well, because it's easy to push blame onto others when you guys aren't on the same playing field of where things should be. It's easy to gossip and tell stories. I remember having a conversation, and someone said to me, you don't realize the power of your voice. Right? And what they meant by that was that if I go on a tear and I think somebody's wrong, I can blow things up, right? And that's not necessarily what I want to do, because that's the other part of being below the line. Shush.
What? No, I'm sorry. I had something in my eye.
Being below the line is where you're like, it's their fault. They're not doing it right. I could do it better.
My poor kid, if he's watching, I'm calling you out on this. He came home from his first semester at college, freshman year, and all he did was sit there and go, and then the teacher didn't do this, and if she had just done this, and if she had just put the grades in earlier, I would have known I was failing. And I was like, really? If she had done it one day before, do you really think your grades would have made a difference? Or do you think you're the one to blame because you know what? You're paying to be there, and they don't care whether you show up or not. This is not 7th grade anymore. They get paid whether you put those buns in the seat and pay attention and do better. But he came home and he was like, and she, and this. And I mean, he was just going to town in that victim mentality. And I said, okay, and now what could you have done? Because what we don't control what the instructors do or your professors, but what could you have controlled in your world?
Yeah.
Would you have not gone to the party the night before a test in a big lab? It's hard to adult. It's really hard to adult. But he knew, and he's like, you know what? I had to just get it off my chest, but you're right. Now that I said it out loud, it sounded ridiculous. He's like, I've been putting these scenarios, this negative scenario in my head and blaming her when I'm the one to blame. Right? Like he saw it. He was, but man, it sounded so much better. The blame game sounded so much better in my head. Then when I said it out loud, and as soon as I saw your face, I knew I was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, it's easy. It's easy to push, right? But where do you go? Where do you get?
Right. And I said, well, Matt, here's the other thing. If you hadn't have screwed up, you wouldn't have learned a really big lesson. And all kids screw up their first semester at college. That's why they give you some of the easier classes. They don't load you up. I was like, so what did you learn for next semester? He's like, I'm saying no to friends unless things are done and I'm confident.
Right.
Like, and I was like, oh, it's growth. He had to fail forward and take ownership of what he didn't do to move forward next semester. So it was, and I am proud of him for this. In the past, he would have reacted without thinking. Because he's 18. His brain's not, I mean, but some of us do that anyway.
I'm 49 and I will totally react without thinking. You have those moments.
You do, right? So you say this in your coaching stuff. Your first thought, I'm going to screw it up. Your first thought
may not be controllable. But the thoughts thereafter, 100% controllable. You have to breathe before reacting. And that, to me, like, talk about, I used to get called out for not being a deep breather. Well, let me just tell you something. There are lots of opportunities out there for me to have an initial thought and have to do that 8-count breath before I respond to somebody. Just saying.
Yep.
And then I would also say, you know, the other part of that, and are you around the right people? Do you have the right tribe? Like if it's a constant barrier and you keep hitting your head against it, do you need to take action and move your world?
You know, and I'm proud of my, you know, it's funny how like all these bold laws and 6PP show up everywhere in life. And he's only really ever remembered me at work. Like he was a kid when I was at the IT company and he remembers all the fun stuff we did, but he doesn't remember me working there because I didn't work from home like I do now. So he's really heard me work as an adult in real estate. And so he's heard these things. And I love seeing it through somebody who's not in real estate's eyes, all these teachings and learnings, because this is just good business and good peopling skills.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I get in the car with Chris, I put a podcast on and he listens, and every once in a while I'll make a comment. He's a better person because the environment KW provides.
I agree with that. I'm a better person.
Right. Because I've been inundated with the information at this point, and it's like my world. And, you know, I have a 28-year-old and I have a 15-year-old and I have an 18-year-old in the middle. My 28-year-old did not have that. My 15-year-old has it. Mindset's completely different.
It's such a different world. It's such a different world when you are supported and you're given tools and the leniency to work within those tools and make the mistakes. What I love about KW is they want you to fail. They want you to feel the pain. They want you to learn and grow from it. And so you're going to have that moment where you've got below the line thinking through those failure points. But I think if we train our brains just a little different, breathe before reacting. My tech action for you guys today is going to be to download an affirmation app. So if you all of a sudden, after hearing stuff like this or taking 6PP like our friends did yesterday, 6 personal perspectives, Start small, and it could be something. And I'm sorry, laugh at affirmations all you want. I did. They make a difference. They help you unlimit a limiting belief.
Yep.
Right. And if you say it, it is, right? How many times do we go into something big and I'm right there going, this is going to be the best speech we ever had. People are going to love this. All my jokes are super funny, right? I sit there and I'm like, hoo, 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 pump us up. What if you had a personal hype squad on your phone every day to just pump you up?
And if you don't want to go down that road, every time you think something negative, how do you turn it into a positive? And there's your affirmation. Like, I can't believe I made that stupid decision yesterday. Well, what does it look like if today I will, think before I react?
Right. And what did you learn from it so you don't do it again?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to our book.
There's so many books around this, but the energy bus, absolutely.
Well, yeah, we're going to say, if you're having a hard time with understanding who needs to be in your tribe and where to put energy, The Energy Bus by John Gordon. Wonderful book.
Yep. And these, I'll add chatter and soundtracks, which we talked about before. It's not just the conscious, it's the subconscious. So sometimes we don't even know what's going on through our head because it's so far behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
All right, my friend.
Agree. All right. We've given our friends a lot to think about.
Yeah, I love this topic. I could talk about this topic forever. I think I could talk about this topic forever because every single day I'm a student of it. Every single day I fight the bottom and the top of the line. The bottom. It's funny.
People probably think you're negative sometimes, but you're not. You're real. Right. And you've got a great way of flipping things. Whereas people probably don't look at me and think, wow, she struggles with mindset some days. But I have had to move this is a learned habit and behavior from years and years of doing certain things. Because while I was always bubbly, I wasn't always sunshine. I wasn't energy and I wasn't positivity. So
yeah,
it takes time sometimes.
It's pain and pleasure, right? The pain of staying the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I do, when I teach and coach, and Jen Bovey says it, she's like, way to bring it down. But if you're not looking about, well, if I do this, then this is the impact. And if I don't do, you have to go down that road.
You absolutely do. You have to think about future negatives, because if you don't ever put yourself in that's the one, below the line. Okay, future, if I don't do this, what is going to happen?
Right.
We have to think about those, because we don't want to get there. And if we're not looking for reality, it's not about being negative. It's about seeking reality.
Yeah, I think I've had a lot of reality in my life. I think I'm good. I would like to wear some of those rose-colored glasses.
Well, then, we'll see you for some margaritas soon, because those have a way of bringing on very colored glasses.
Right. Absolutely. All right, my friend.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.